Hey, it's your friend Choice CJ here, and this is my Week 9 battle for the UBL. We're going up against the Bullet Punch Club, who is coached most of the time by Uzi Gunner, who is actually the defending champ of the UBL, but this week he's tagging out. He's getting a sub, and his name is Jolt of the Token Minorities. We actually battled another coach from TTM earlier this season, and that was Styx, and we did face off versus him in Week 6, and we did end up losing that battle, so that was definitely unfortunate. So we're hoping that we can split the difference versus the TTM guys, and Uzi actually is a member of TTM now. He is signed up, I think, to do like Pokemon game reviews and like fan hack reviews and things like that. And then I'm not sure if the Draft League content that he's making is going to stay on his own channel or go to TTM or how it's going to work. We will see about all of that. But anyway, it's a great family of creators led by Jolt, who gives a lot to the community. He does lots of tournaments for the Pokemon community, like March Madness and Summer Showdown. He was commissioner of MPL for a very long time, just recently passing the reins on to Trev CL. He's a GBA main league coach now after being promoted from the D League. And yeah, so Jolt is sort of one of the icons of the community right now, and I don't think that's an exaggeration to say. I'm not going to do a team builder this week. I might do one next week versus Joydor. I haven't really decided yet what I'm going to do. But this week in particular, I'm gonna pass just because there's a good chance that we'll be rematching Uzi in playoffs if we do manage to advance past the first round. He's currently the 1 seed in the Emma Watson division. We're the 2 seed in the Emma Stone division. So we'll have to see if that matchup ends up working out. If we are lucky enough to advance past round 1. So it just seems good to preserve some of the strats just in case we end up rematching again. So I'll just quickly go over the team, kind of share with you guys as much information as was shared during the match. And I'll also give you guys team matchup. I'll probably put a little picture up on the screen so you guys can review all of the mons that he could have brought. His roster features Crobat, Alakazam, Whimsicott, Raikou, Infernape, Zoroark, Kyurem Black, Alomomola, Tangela, Mega Aggron, and Rhydon. So he has quite a bit of Volt Turn, which is pretty wild. Like 5 of his fastest mons all have Volt Turn in some way, which is pretty nice. And that combos really nicely with Kyurem Black. So he has like lots of pivoting options into Kyurem Black is what I'm trying to say. His bulk is kind of weird. Like it's Aloe and Aggron versus the world basically. Like it's true that Tangela is there, but Tangela is a little bit of an unmon, plus he has the Whimsicott to serve as that grass type. It doesn't have the same bulk as Tangela, but Tangela is forced to have that Eviolite. It's not very offensive or fast. It's actually faster than Tangrowth. It has like 60 base speed versus Tangrowth's 50 base speed, so that's pretty funny. Yeah, so it's really just relying on Aloe and Aggron, and I guess like Kyurem Black can be bulky, and like Crobat can be bulky, and things like that. Raikou with AV can be bulky. So it's definitely like a very offensive-oriented team. Like in paper, it seems like it's focusing on getting Kyurem Black in on good matchups. So anyway, our team that we've elected to bring versus his squad of 11 is a Chople Berry Heatran. We have an offensive Healing Wish Mega Lopunny. We have a Choice Scarf Togekiss. We have a Choice Banded Breloom. We have a Modest Venomoth, and we have a bulky defensive Necrozma. And so, looking at the team that he's decided to bring, you can see he's brought Aggron, Crobat, Kyurem, Alakazam, Infernape, and Whimsicott. So I feel like I feel like Heatran matches up versus the mass majority of his team. I guess the only thing that would potentially be bad is if he's like a Life Orb or Specs Kyurem and chooses to lead that and click Earth Power. I do have the Chople Berry, like I said. I was really strongly considering Shuka Berry, but I feel like Chople was better versus the vast majority of the team. It protects from Focus Blast Alakazam, Close Combat Infernape, Focus Blast Zoroark, Aura Sphere, Raikou, and things like that. And then it's just really the Kyurem and potentially Aggron that have the ground coverage for it. So anyway, That would kind of like be the only bad situation. Otherwise, there's not a bad matchup for Heatran here. And so I am going to lead it and try and apply some early pressure versus the majority of his team. And with that, let's go ahead and click play and get on into the battle here. So good luck, have fun, Jolts. Really appreciate this opportunity to go off versus, like I said, you know, kind of the top dogs in the community right now. And my Heatran is going to pop out as he sends out Jolt Smelly, which is actually the Aggron. It's funny, TTM Sticks jammed all of the mons for Jolt this week and gave them funny names. So some of them are a little bit reflective of the sets. Not like giving away any of the moves or attacks or anything, but just they sort of make sense in hindsight, if that makes sense. So anyway, I go for the Lava Plume here. Like, I figure I'll outspeed this thing. And get off some big damage versus it. Like, if he wants to stay in, he'll probably just, like, get up rocks or something. He does go for the EQ. I would have died to this if I hadn't gotten the Lava Plume burn. So I guess that's, you know, that's nice for me. He gets a little bit of justice, though, because he does crit on the EQ. So I don't know if it's hacks for hacks or what it is. Like, it's a little bit luckier for me, I think, that I was able to get the burn. Even though, like, the chance to burn is much higher, like, I'm in a much better position because I got the Lava Plume and, you know, versus him getting that crit. So I'm able to pretty easily go for the Earth Power because it should do a lot to the Aggron. And there's a pretty reasonable chance that he switches out into Infernape, which is exactly what he does. He actually shows the Shuka Berry as I hit him with that Earth Power, and he's able to kill me on the next turn with Close Combat. I don't think I would have been able to live the Close Combat if I hadn't gotten crit. It's kind of tough to say, but I wasn't very physically defensive oriented this week, so it probably was going to kill either way. But anyway, I do go into my Necrozma. It's sort of built to deal with the Infernape. I figure he'll switch out, and this is probably my best chance to go into, or sorry, to get up my rocks with my Necrozma. And he goes into Alakazam, which is interesting. Like, it's not really a switch-in, just because it's not generally very bulky. Which is definitely annoying. I do switch out, and he shows the Toxic. So this is a nice tech on his part for sure, just because it does allow him to wear down Necrozma. He doesn't have the Zoroark on the team to deal the super effective stab. I don't think he has any super effective stab for Necrozma on the team whatsoever. But anyway, I do now just go for the Air Slash. I don't know if it was this like the last turn. Or no, it'll be on this upcoming turn. So he's actually going to reveal another tech move. He has the Protect. You know, there's no pun intended there. So it's like a Toxic Protect Alakazam, which is surprisingly effective versus my team. I was not expecting it whatsoever. And based on that Air Slash damage as well, this seems to be at least max HP. So there's a reasonable chance that he even has Fizdef investment. Like, I don't necessarily think that would make the most sense, but it does allow him to take, like, one return from Lopunny. It allows him to take maybe one hit from Breloom and go for super effective Psychic-type moves. Like, I don't know if he's got that Fizdef investment or if he's got speed investment. He doesn't have special attack investment based on how much damage that Psychic did. So he's getting pretty low on health here. I'm expecting either one of two things. I'm expecting him either to Protect to do that last bit of toxic damage to my Togekiss, or I'm expecting a Recover. Because, like, the Toxic Protect set does sort of make sense if he does choose to Recover, because it allows him to stall out a lot of my team. So, since those two options seemed fairly likely to me, I thought it would be pretty safe to go into Lopunny. Turns out not to be the case because he Psychics me, and he crits again, which is unfortunate. Like, obviously, it was going to do a chunk of damage to my Lopunny either way, but the reason it's most unfortunate is that after I Mega Evolve here and click Return, the Crobat does come in, and as you're about to see, this Crobat has Rocky Helmet. And, you know, that's kind of what I expected. Crobat was, like, the closest thing he had to a Lopunny switch-in on the entire team. But yeah, now I can't hit it for a second return without also killing myself. And so I decide actually just to sacrifice my Lopunny here, go for the Healing Wish, and hope that he doesn't Roost. Like, I thought either he would go for like a Brave Bird or something there, or maybe a Defog or a Taunt or something like that. He ended up showing Toxic on this thing as well, which is also annoying to note. But it didn't matter in that situation because my Lopunny had already sacrificed itself, of course. I do elect to heal up my Togekiss. Reason being, because the Aggron is so weakened, He doesn't really have any good flying resist on the rest of the team. Like, his best switch-in is, like, the bulky Alakazam that he's got, which is already at, like, 40%, so that's pretty nice. We just go into the Infernape. I went for Flamethrower in case he wanted to go into Aggron, anticipating my Air Slash. And that gives him, unfortunately, a free chance to go into his Infernape, and he does SD. And so I did build this Necrozma, like, pretty specifically to deal with SD Infernape, which obliterates my team. And so this Flare Blitz does a decent chunk of damage. I already know he's not Life Orb or anything cheeky like that, and so I did EV this specifically so I'd always take like 75% min and then like 88%, 89% max from Flare Blitz. So it gives me the best likelihood of surviving a Flare Blitz after rocks while also guaranteeing that my Aguav Berry is gonna pop. So I can easily, not revenge kill, but I can easily knock it out with the Photon Geyser, and I'm still sitting at like 70% HP here, which is pretty great. He does go into his Aggron here. I assume he's just going to try and get up rocks at this point because it doesn't really threaten me offensively. The other thing he could potentially do if he's packing it is Toxic, but he already has Toxic on 2 other Mons on his team, so who knows about that. There's no move I can really make here to punish him for going for rocks, but I can 2-hit KO with Brick Break. It's kind of embarrassing that Necrozma only does like 15-20% damage with Brick Break, but after burn damage it was enough to 2-hit KO, which is pretty nice. So anyway, now the Whimsicott comes in here. I don't want him going for like stupid Encore shenanigans or anything like that. And I have a pretty good switch into this thing, being my Venomoth, you know, does resist the dual stabs and things like that. And he's just going to go straight for a Leech Seed. So this is going to be a big nuisance for my team just because I don't really have a great Leech Seed switch in. You'd have to be a madman to switch Breloom in this situation. But anyway, he does show leftovers too. And so that combined with the Leech Seed is going to allow him to effectively take 0 damage each turn once he starts setting up these substitutes. So he's Subseed, really good set, really freaking good set, annoying set, but really freaking good set. Do you go for that Sludge Bomb? Like basically because he doesn't have the Aggron left anymore. Sludge Bomb is pretty free versus the majority of his team, except for this thing which has Subseed. It's going to continue to wear down my Venomoth, but I do luckily pack the Bug Buzz. So if he wants to set up this sub, that's fine. He's going to take 25% damage, and I'm going to be able to launch off this Bug Buzz. It's going to do a pretty nice chunk of damage. It does like 40% or so, which is really, really nice. The reason that that's nice, it's way comfortable for 2-hit KOing, but the problem is that, of course, he's getting leftovers and Leech Seed recovery, so he's back to about 40-45% or so, but still potentially in range of this Bug Buzz killing. And he does just go for a Moonblast this turn as a last-ditch effort to get off the maximum amount of damage possible, and what do you know, he gets a special attack drop. So I went from looking to be in a pretty comfortable position, being able to take this thing out, to now basically I'm gonna get stalled out by this thing because I'm at a range of HP where Moonblast can kill, and it's pretty crappy. Like if I was able to get rid of this Whimsicott, he would go into Alakazam or Kyurem or whatever. I don't think he has any other Mons in the squad besides that. I just go into Togekiss and I click Scarf Dazzling Gleam and I win the game because it should be enough to take out the Alakazam, or it should be pretty close. We've already seen that it's not offensive, so even if I don't one-shot it, I can 2-hit KO it, because I live the Psychic. And then Kyurem comes in, and unless it's like Spadef or Roselli Berry or something, I just kill it with Scarf Dazzling Gleam. Obviously, if he's like a Scarf Ice Beam as well, he could take me out. And I go into my Breloom and I Mach Punch for the win. But as it stands, he's able to take out my Venomoth, get this Whimsicott to a pretty healthy amount of HP. And I don't really have many options here. Breloom I cannot bring in versus this thing, obviously. My Necrozma can probably beat it 1v1, but the problem is if he has Encore. Like if he has Encore, like what am I supposed to do? He Encores me when I go for Moonlight. And then there's nothing that I can do to then stop this thing from just going for Seeds and Moonblast and everything like that versus me. So Necrozma isn't guaranteed to beat this thing 1v1. Yeah, and I can't really PP stall it. Like Substitute has way more PP than Moonlight. So kind of my only play is to go into Togekiss here and over the couple of turns, I do 5% damage to it each turn with Air Slash. because I'm not like a very defensively invested Togekiss. So he doesn't get like as much of an HP boost, which is nice. And like it's actually, this is like a offensive Whimsicott. It doesn't have a lot of bulk investment, so it's getting a higher percentage back each turn from these Leech Seeds. Like if it was a bulky Whimsicott with more HP investment, it would heal a smaller percent, which means I would actually be doing more damage to it each turn with these substitutes going up over and over. So I do get into a pretty fortunate situation here in just a moment, because, like I said, I'm kind of slowly whittling it down time over time. It does 64 damage this turn. Sorry, it does 64 down to 43, so 21 damage this turn, which means on the next turn I go from 43 to 22, and then from 22 down to literally 1 HP. So the nice thing is that, like you said, he's in the red here, but he's going to heal up like 12 or 15%. But then on the final turn, he'll get his 6% from leftovers, but then he'll basically get no recovery from the final turn of Leech Seed. And so that should be able, like you'll see here, he'll get to a range of HP where he can sub again, but he is not going to be at a range of HP where he can survive Choice Banded Mach Punch. So this wasn't necessarily by design. Like, I didn't, EVE my Togekiss a certain way so that I would live on 1 HP from Leech Seed after rocks or anything like that. That definitely didn't happen. So he's kind of forced to go for the substitute again, because he doesn't have enough HP for it. But he can't Moonblast me because I am Scarf and I outspeed him. So his only way to kill my Togekiss right here is to go for another sub. It would really suck if I missed an Air Slash here. But Togekiss is well trained. It went for like 10 straight Air Slashes and didn't miss one. So that's quite nice. So like I said, now this Whimsicott heals up for 6% HP. It gains literally just 1 more HP from the Leech Seed recovery, and it's sitting at like 17-18% or so, which should be enough for my Breloom to come in and knock this thing out. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I could have gone into Necrozma, I guess, but like, maybe that wasn't the right... I don't know what the right play was, but I knew that Breloom would be able to get the KO. The reason I'm saying, maybe it is or isn't the right play is that this Alakazam comes in here, and I'm like, okay, it's at like 40% HP. If he's just max HP, I should be guaranteed to kill. But he goes for the the protect to get that leftovers recovery. So now he's at like 46% or so. Maybe he's a little less. It's hard to tell exactly. And I'm like, oh shoot, if he has like any Phys-Def investment at all, this is like a really dangerous roll. Because like Alakazam's physical defense is so low, so every point you invest into it is really valuable. But it turns out he didn't really have any defense investment. He just had like max HP, and we get the roll. According to Jolt, it was in our favor. I don't know exactly what amount of HP he was at, so that's why I'm not able to say for sure like how much in my favor it was. But we do get that. And Breloom is, of course, going to be able to get the final kill on the Kyurem, and that's going to result in a GG, very narrow 2-0 victory over Jolt. So really awesome game, honestly. The strats that Jolt brought were really freaking hard to deal with. Like, that Whimsicott was so damn good. It killed 2 members of my team with very little effort. I think in the end game there, like, I was sort of debating whether Necrozma was the right play versus the Whimsicott or the Breloom. I figured the Breloom was the right play. It didn't really seem like he was at a range of HP where he could go for a substitute. He probably wasn't expecting me to be banded, so maybe he was thinking he could live live the Mach Punch and be able to kill me with Moonblast. But yeah, like, the Necrozma might have been able to, like, if he went for Leech Seed versus Necrozma, I would be able to knock it out right away. If he went for a substitute, I would just immediately break the substitute with Photon Geyser, and then he wouldn't be able to sub again the next turn. And then versus the Alakazam, it turns out he did not have Recover. His last move was Focus Blast, so he was Toxic Protect, Psychic, and Focus Blast. And so I probably would have been able to 2-hit KO it with Photon Geyser, just because of the range of HP that he was at, but I would have taken a Toxic in the process. But because I didn't know that he had Focus Blast, because I thought he might have the Recover, it didn't seem like a good play to go into Necrozma, because he can then just Toxic Protect and Recover Stall my Necrozma. I didn't have any coverage for it. My last move, is Moonlight was my last move. I didn't show it throughout the course of the battle, but it's a defensive Necrozma. You've got to know it's got Moonlight. So yeah, that's why I decided to go Breloom there, because I thought it was the better option. Necrozma could probably beat Kyurem 1v1 depending upon the set. Like if it's like Ice Z, that wouldn't have ended up being the case. But of course, he ended up not being that set. He was actually Scarf. So I think Necrozma could have 1v1 a Scarf Kyurem. But I'm not 100% sure. It depends on the exact investments and everything. I didn't do any of the calcs. So anyway, long story short, we do get the dub. That improves us to 7-2, and we'll see. I think Frosted lost her week 8 match, dropping her to 5-3. And so we went from 6-2 to 7-2. I don't know what her week 9 result is, but unless there's no way that she can jump me because she is 1 loss behind. So we maintain our number 1 spot. We drop Uzi down to the 2 spot. Which is like, so it kind of increases our likelihood of playing him in the maybe second round of playoffs. I guess I don't know the exact how the bracketing works, but Uzi is a great player and has a really scary team. I think the matchup versus Uzi is slightly better than it is versus Styx, so I'm kind of happy that this move can potentially bump Styx into first place in his division, the Emma Watson division. Because that makes it less likely that we'll play Styx earlier. So that in a weird way, it's kind of nice that we did get this dub, and it's just nice sort of for my confidence and everything like that, because we beat kind of the best team in the league record wise. We beat one of the best battlers in the whole Pokemon community, even though he's using like a loner team, so to speak. One that he's not comfortable with, so this still gives me a confidence boost despite all of those things. And it puts us in a really nice position for week 10. We don't know, like I said, I don't know how Frosted's game is going to play out for week 9 yet. If she loses, we are clinched for number 1 seed, so we don't really have anything to play for. Even if she wins and then she wins week 10 and we lose week 10, we could still end up ahead of her depending upon how differential works out. But yeah, we are going to be going up against Jodor for week 10. He is fighting for his life for a playoff spot. He is 4-5. If he wins, he is in, I believe. I guess it depends on how well Root does. I still don't know Root's week 9 result, and obviously I don't know his week 10 result yet. Because I think he could win out and have better differential than Joe and bump Joe down a spot. But if Joe wins, that puts him in pretty good position to win as well, or sorry, to make playoffs as well. So I don't want to throw the game because it's obviously a really critical one. So I'm going to be giving it my best shot because I also just don't like to lose. Hopefully you guys can appreciate that. So we're gonna give him a good fight next week. So I do hope you guys tune in for that. Make sure you drop a like on the video and drop a sub so you can stay all to date on all of that UBL content and all of my other gaming and Pokemon content. And until the next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.